It's gonna be close. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man Sean Zattel holding it down, and now the ad is over. The ad is over, and now the official FightHype live music can play from the illustrious, elaborate, never having technical difficulties headquarters here in Las Vegas, Nevada. What's up, everybody? It's your man Sean Zattel again for FightHype Live, doing a little pregame show before Jermell Charlo's workout for the Undisputed 168-pound fight with Canelo Alvarez. Of course, we know Jermell is undisputed. He technically won't be undisputed once the first bell rings. He'll be stripped of the WBO, but one of the all-time greats at 154, Jermell Charlo, having his workout today in Houston, Texas. Actually in Sugar Land, Texas, as it would be, but in Sugar Land, Texas, little bit outside of Houston. I was supposed to be at this workout today in Sugar Land, Texas. And for those of you that tuned into the Zcap earlier, we apologize for horrible technical difficulties. We're on a different software right now that's allowing me to go live, even with some internet power outages going on throughout Las Vegas right now. So a little bit different software to keep it going. I apologize for that live. I was cooking. I touched on Frank Martin and Shakur, and then got into Haney Prograis, and that's when Cox Communications decided to live up to their names. They are dicks. You get it? You get the joke? And so here we are. But what's up, everybody? Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. I was supposed to be at this workout in Sugar Land. I was flying out of Denver, going to the Bronco Raider game, and then was going straight from Denver to Houston. But then this workout had to be called off limits to media because of the COVID starting to spread around Houston area, apparently. So we got email as media guys, and girls over the weekend saying, hey, not come down, but there will be a media day for Jermell Charlo. There will even be some Bun B Trill Burgers potentially being served, something for refreshments. But they had to call it off because of COVID. And a lot of signs indicate they're going to do the same thing with us media guys and girls Wednesday for Canelo's workout in Tahoe, if that's even still going to be a thing, which it was going to be, but we'll see. So yes, the underdog will be working out as soon as PVC and Showtime start their live stream. We will be live streaming the workout right here from FightHype.com. I'm gonna be live reacting to it as we go along, because normally I'd be there with my camera live, getting us live footage, there at the gym in Sugar Land, Texas. But today I'll commentate as we see it for ourselves. I'll react as you guys see it live. I'll be seeing it live, his workout. And there's some things. Scotty Dippin said you got to have the Trill Burger. I was really looking forward to that almost as much as watching Jermell workout. That was like going to be half the trip, but it was for naught. So my face just got much wider because I pulled up my notepad. Here's the things I'm looking to see from Jermell Charlo in particular in this workout. And that is, number one, balance in all aspects. And Emmanuel Stewart, I've said it 100 times on the stream. Emmanuel Stewart said the secret to a great fighter is balance. And I believe Joe Lewis said that too. But balance, I think Jermell Charlo, obviously you don't become champion, undisputed champion without having some good balance. He's a great athlete. But I don't think his balance, when I watch tape, there's something about his balance that isn't quite as solid as Canelo Alvarez, Inoue, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis. Just something about it. And as I kept watching him, I noticed he has a wide base. And he has a very good jab, but he doesn't always fight tall. He bends down to get a little bit lower, and that gives him better flexibility and everything. But it does mean he gives up his height a little bit, and that's a problem against Canelo. He's going to want to use every inch of his height in this fight, especially behind that jab. But I'm looking for his balance. How is his balance in all aspects, offense, defense, when he throws combinations? And speaking of his combinations, another point in my notes, the compactness in his punches, especially when he throws combinations, because Jermell Charlo had great success combination punching, even off the ropes, multiple times against Brian Castano to knock him out. But he gets a little fat on his combinations. Canelo's a very compact, very accurate, economical puncher who places every shot very accurately, doesn't throw as many combinations as Jermell Charlo. But Charlo, when he throws those combinations, and it's good that he throws them, he gets a little fat on the shots. They open up a little bit wide in comparison to a guy like Canelo. So I'm looking for how compact his punches are in this workout, especially when he's throwing combinations. And then another point I'm looking for, his jab and his feet, and meaning the jab needs to work in concert with the footwork. He has to create angles off of it. It's not enough that he's just throwing a good jab out of there. His feet got to work in concert with it, where he's giving off an angle off the jab, and he's using his lateral movement, which is an advantage for him in this fight, that he does have good lateral movement, although he struggles to hold the center of the ring, to control the center of the ring. He'll allow himself to get backed up ropes to ropes, ropes to ropes. And with Joan Guzman increasingly getting him better and better off the ropes, he fights well off the ropes, but it's not good against a guy like Canelo to not hold that center of the ring behind your jab and get moved ropes to ropes. He won't have the same success against Canelo that he did Castaño if he allows that to happen. So the jab is big key for Charlo, but the jab's got to work in concert with his feet. It's got to be given angles off the jab, off the movement. And then speaking of the movement, does he look heavy on his feet? Does he just look heavy on his feet? Like he's carrying, like he's lumbering it around a little bit? And do his punches look as snappy and as quick at 68 than they would at 54? You could sacrifice speed putting on weight like he is, 14 pounds of muscle. So we want to see, is he as fast at 68 as he was at 54? And when those punches come out, does it at all look like he's pushing his weight? Like the weight is a little heavy on him, and it's not the same kind of snappiness and speed that you see at 54. And then also looking to see if it's looking to see if there's more Derek James working with him or more Joan Guzman working with him, because part of me questions if Joan Guzman is really the head trainer now of Jermell Charlo. I told you guys on the stream that I already saw signs of Guzman playing a bigger and bigger role in Jermell Charlo heading into the Castano rematch, where they didn't arrive. It was April before the rematch, the month before the rematch last year. Charlo was in town watching Spence and Ugas, and he had a roundtable with the media the morning of the fight. He got there at a different time than Derek James. There was like a little bit of tension there, and Jermell began to talk a lot about the help that Joan Guzman was giving him, training him with Joan Guzman, and these training clips with Joan Guzman were coming out. And then when you look at, if you knew Joan Guzman as a fighter, he was great at throwing combinations off the ropes. And that's what really helped win the rematch for Jermell Charlo, was punching in combination off the ropes to get Castaño off of him and ultimately win the fight by knockout. I felt like that was a lot of Guzman's imprint there. And then you see the All Access episode 1 of Canelo and Charlo, and there's Joan Guzman, not Derek James, Joan Guzman sitting next to Jermell Charlo at his home at nighttime in his backyard watching film beside his fighter and his fighter's wife. It can't get any more intimate and close of a bond between trainer and fighter. He's in the man's house at night watching tape with him and his family, dissecting the fight. So, you know, Derek James gets huge credit in the career of Jermell Charlo for the knockout power. Jermell Charlo was not a puncher before he got to Derek James. Once he got to Derek James, every fight that he won in a title fight at junior middleweight was by knockout, except for the Austin Trout fight. Every other fight he's won as a champ in a championship fight at 154 has been by knockout with Derek James. So James made Jermell Charlo a puncher. That is what he deserves the most credit for, in my opinion. But the footwork Jermell Charlo had and the boxer in Jermell Charlo was already cultivated by Ronnie Shields. And now I think Charlo's trying to grow his game more, and maybe he feels like he's learned about as much as he can from Derek James, just like he felt he learned about as much as he could from another great trainer in Ronnie Shields. And now he's trying to expand his game one more time into his 30s with Guzman, like he did in the Castaño fight, heading into this rematch, because he has to be slick. He has to be slicker. He has to use his jab, and he has to fight kind of the perfect fight. And I think Guzman can help give him more of the tools to pull that off for this particular assignment. But again, James deserves a lot of credit because he made him the knockout artist he became at 154. So I'm just curious to see all of that in this workout. Chat, what's going on? What's going on? Let me see what everybody's got to say in the chat. TJ the fan says Charlo for the win. Derek James talked about Crawford having multiple trainers, but I agree it was Guzman who made the difference in the second Castaño fight, says Scotty Dippin. Isaac Bermudez, what's going on? Who else? Toxic Wing, Dak. Ysidro Lara is back in the house. What's going on? Clickbait, bro. Where's the workout? It's coming, PPLC, and I respect the Dolphins logo. I got love for the Dolphins. Team Batman Boxing. What's going on, brother? Ysidro Lara, what happened earlier? Had some technical difficulties. So we had to run a different software to manage to get the live going today. But Gio Ramirez says Charlo has a strong, stiff jab. He does, but it has to be an educated jab, and he has to believe in it. He can't abandon it if Canelo slips it time and time again, counters over the top of it with the right hand. He has to stick with it and believe it. It has to be an educated jab, and it has to work in concert with his feet. I don't think he would just stand in front of Canelo and like Triple G did at times. Triple G stood center of the ring with Canelo and just jabbed his head off. I think Charlo's got to put an angle on his jab. Virgil Hunter, when he was trading Amir Khan, and Amir Khan had early round success against Canelo Alvarez, Virgil Hunter was yelling, and the HBO broadcast picked up on it. He was yelling, point, point, point. And what he meant was that lead foot in concert with the lead jab of Khan, keep it in control, keep Canelo on it. I mean, Virgil could explain this better, but it basically means pivot off the jab, control the center of the ring with ring generalship by, pointing the lead foot in concert with the jab. And that's how Amir Khan was able to have some success with Canelo before he got knocked out. So that jab has to do that. He has to do his, he has to pick his spots with his combinations. He has to make Canelo's feet reset a lot off the jab, and he has to make every use behind that jab, use his height and his length on Canelo. But Charlo, who has a good jab, doesn't always impose his height and his distance control. That's why the shorter guy on Castaño was able to get inside on him and will. And Charlo's adjustment, since he wasn't, as a wise man I was talking to in boxing mentioned, since he's not a great enough boxer, because Charlo's a boxer puncher. And so since he's not a great enough, just pure boxer, he wasn't able to make the adjustment to just outbox Castaño, to keep him on the end of his punches where the range most favors him. His answer was, when he does get in close, I'm just going to fire off. I'm going to outpunch him. I'm going to beat him in the exchanges and be the bigger, more explosive man. And that's what he did. And in a beautiful way, his combinations against Castaño at times were almost 2 notches above what they call get off me punches, but he just made it work for him so much. But he was so much bigger and more explosive than Castaño. Castaño, not the fighter Canelo is. It's not going to be that game plan probably won't be as effective. He'll have to make better use of his jab and his height and impose himself in the center of the ring and not get pushed to the ropes like he did with Castaño. So right now we're just waiting on a delay, it looks like. Showtime having a big delay. But it's okay. It's okay. We're chilling. We're kicking it. We're having a good time. Right? Right. What's good, Sean, says Tay-Day. Vincent N said, you're a legend, bro. I appreciate that. We're working on it. I wouldn't say we're legend yet. We will be. To chat. New camera, Tay-Day. Yeah, it's a new camera. New webcam. Slowly upgrading things. Things will get better. Better production value will come, especially with your guys' support. And by the way, we got to start doing this fight take stuff with you guys, the fans, bringing people in. We are thinking of making it a thing where whoever, puts in a super chat, we could have you come in and you could give your fight take and you could clip it and show it to your family and friends. Yo, I was on FightHype. I gave it to Sean. I stumped that motherfucker on Haney Pro Grace or Charlo Canelo or whatever topics we're going to keep talking about moving forward. But it is, fight take is something we do want to do with you guys and not just have it be me and other journalists from FightHype and me and potentially fighters and other media and fighters and trainers. We want to do it with the fans too, because a lot of fans know their stuff, and I don't have to be right about everything. If a fan gets me, gives a better take than me, then we're happy to have it on FightHype, that knowledge would be getting shared here on this channel. So Yeah, keep that in mind, chat. As we go forward, we'll be doing that. Gio Ramirez said, "You're a casual fan, buddy." I think Gio's talking to someone in the chat. Couldn't be talking to me, of course. Andrew Castellanos said, "What's up, my man, Sean?" What's up, Andrew? Thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Andrew, a little bummed. I'm pretty tired. I got into Las Vegas 1:30 last night from the Raider game. Did some locker room stuff there, and then but the whole plan was fly out of Denver, which was going to be a lot cheaper than flying out of Las Vegas, so it all worked out. Fly out of Denver straight to Houston, take a lift to Sugarland, and then go see Charlo do his thing. Go see it up close and personal the way I like it, but I have to settle for hanging in the office watching it whenever it does start. And no Bun B Trill Burgers either. Just the L across the board. This is us trying to salvage an L at FightHype. So here we go. That's what it is. FightHype always taking out the good content. Appreciate it. Toxic Wings. Three Pumps said, same people picking Charlo like they picked Fulton over Inoue. I think Fulton over Inoue was I don't think that. I mean, I had Inoue. I picked Inoue always in that fight, regardless of the narrative on your boy on Inoue. Inoue, to me, is top 2 pound for pound. Special fight. Very special fighter. I picked him to beat Fulton, but I didn't think he'd beat Fulton like that. And I don't think that was an awful pick if you had Fulton heading into that fight. Fulton was a little bit bigger. Fulton, very excellent fighter in his own right. He beat big dudes that could punch like Figueroa. So I don't think that was an awful pick. I had Inoue. Most of the experts had Inoue, but I wouldn't clown you for picking Fulton. Yeah. Charlo, Canelo. I don't clown you if you pick Charlo. I got Canelo. But if you like my man Hans on Fight Take basically said he thinks Canelo comes out sharp the first 6 rounds and everything, but then he's getting a little older and he'll get tired down the stretch against Charlo, who that is definitely one factor in Charlo's advantage. He has better conditioning than Canelo. Charlo comes down strong in the second half of the fight and beats a decision against an aging Canelo, who's made a lot of money and stuff like that. But that I don't think that's out of the question, but I've said it many times on these lives. That is the way I see Charlo winning. He needs Canelo to meet him halfway. Canelo's got to be gassed by the 7th and ready to see the final bell that early into the fight. Charlo can sense it, step on the gas, and, run more, let his hands go more than Canelo, who will be tired, not as sharp defensively, not letting us go as many shots. And Charlo can win this thing by a decision. But I just think Canelo wins the fight. I still think he's just a better fighter than Charlo right now. It's at his weight division. He has better defense than Charlo. He's more accurate than Charlo. He punches harder than Charlo, and he'll take a better punch than Charlo. And I'm not convinced Charlo's faster than him either, even though Canelo, by his standards, been a little more sluggish. I went back and watched some of that third Triple G fight, and Canelo didn't look as bad as I gave him crap for. He did good at spots, not as good as, didn't look as fresh as he did in 2021, but Canelo still brings a lot to the table. With all his skills and upper body movement. And again, Charlo, he lets these shorter guys like Castaño get in the range they want, where they could get underneath him and go to work. A year and a half out of the ring. I don't know if that's something he'll really be able to shore up. There is this possibility with Charlo. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is this possibility. He has that rise to the occasion factor under the bright lights, being his first big fight like this. Maybe he's laser focused. Like Terrence Crawford went to another level for Errol Spence. As good as Crawford was, Crawford didn't look as good the last couple of years, in my opinion, against Avanesian, even Sean Porter, who he knocked out late in the fight. But Avanesian, Mean Machine, Sean Porter, Crawford dialed it up a notch when the lights got to the brightest for Errol Spence. Maybe Charlo has that in him, and that jab is that much more disciplined. That footwork, that defense tightens up for the big moment, and his superior conditioning allows him to kind of close stronger than Canelo. He pulls off the upset, but I think we're going to get a little bit more of a rejuvenated Canelo, and again, Charlo's inability to hold the center of the ring and get pushed to the ropes repeatedly. That's not a good thing for Canelo. The fact that he takes a lot of punches, even in the fights he won by knockout, his rematches with Harrison and Castaño, those guys touched him up quite a bit. So so we'll see, you know. And then he's not as compact a puncher as Canelo when he opens up with his combinations. Canelo could take advantage of that in the exchanges. You know, get his bombs to the mark first and then have the better defense and upper body movement to hit and not get hit when they're both trying to swim without getting wet. Maybe Canelo gets less water on him. So we'll see. Vigilante, thank you for the super chat, said, how much damage is Charlo going to take after the first 6 rounds, though? The confidence might be down after that beating, more conditioning or not. Fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. And if he gets hit very hard early in the fight and he's being hurt in a way that he was never hurt, and it's something totally different than the stuff he would experience at 154 pounds, then you could start to see a little bit of that Zab Judah Adrian Broner happen, where now they start fighting to make the distance instead of fighting to still win, trying to create some damage on the other guy. You know, that happened to Caleb Plant a little bit. Even though he didn't see the final bell, he didn't take as many chances as he did against David Benavidez or again in any other fight he had. Canelo early in that fight drove him to the ropes, hit him hard to the body, imposed himself on him from the opening bell, was the boss. And Caleb didn't take a lot of chances in that fight. He got the fight beaten out of him during that fight. Canelo can do that to you. So if that happens with Charlo, if he gets hit hard early and is feeling punches with a power he's never felt before, and his body is recoiling from the power each time, his body is physically recoiling from the power in a way it hasn't, you could see a little bit of what you'd see from Zab and Adrian Broner, where they fight to make the distance and, you know, but and give the occasional burst here and there, but for the most part, trying to fight to the distance. I can see that happening to Jermell Charlo. But I think he has a little bit more character in the ring than those 2 guys I mentioned, to be honest. And I don't expect him to quite do that. I do expect him to make it the distance, to have some moments in this fight, to win anywhere from, I expect him to win about 3, maybe 4 rounds in this fight. I think he could get dropped. I think Canelo can definitely score a knockdown in this fight, maybe off a body shot in particular. But I don't think he'll finish Jermell Charlo. I don't think Canelo puts together the kind of work rate to get guys out of there. Like Oscar De La Hoya, he gets you hurt. He throw a million punches with you on the ropes. Canelo's not going to do that. He's going to keep fighting at his pace, even after he would drop him. And I think Jermell would be able to survive in that kind of pace. But right now, I'm feeling like this will be a Canelo 117, 110, 116, 111 kind of fight with a knockdown maybe along the way. And, you know, Charlo's pride keeps him up, keeps him to the final bell. He has some moments, and it's a fun fight that Canelo wins by decision. But we'll see. I'm waiting for Showtime to get their thing started so I can see this man work out. I want to see what we're getting, you know, a little preview September 30th. I know it's just a media day. He's not going to go crazy. We're not going to see what he really looked like with the cameras off, if going all out. But let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see. F Your Feelings says Jermell Charlo does indeed have a good chin. He's going to need it in this fight because he's going to get hit a lot. Miles Jordan said Canelo going to lose first round KO. That's I can guarantee you that won't happen. Let's see. Charlo got a concrete chin, says Ysidro Lara. Does have a good chin. Been down before at 54, but never been down since he became a world champion, has Jermell Charlo. So, let me see. If Canelo comes with the better defense and the combos, that's a dangerous Canelo. Canelo doesn't throw a lot of combination. He throws 2 or 3 at a time. Toxic Wing says these predictions are goofy. Okay. I don't know. It's the same. It's pretty much the same exact prediction that Las Vegas has, that puts their money where their mouth is when it comes to making odds. This is pretty much I'm just saying the standard prediction that Vegas thinks is going to happen. And Vegas is right more times than not. But we'll see. Vegas was right about Crawford. Vegas was right about Tank. Vegas was right about Benavidez' plant. Oh, hold up, chat. Hold up. Let me shut this up. Put the live. It sounds like we might be getting this workout going. What's up? Raider Reaper with the super chat said, thoughts on Strickland's pressure, Philly Shell versus Izzy. I don't watch UFC, Raider Reaper, or MMA. I don't know. I'm an old school boxing fan who got real butthurt when Dana White used to shit all over boxing. So I never did check it out. But I hear, again, I don't know much about MMA at all. I know Israel Adesanya was considered the more talented fighter than Sean Strickland. This was a big upset. And maybe I know some speculation Israel Adesanya had that huge fight with Alex Pereira. Even guys like me got wind of it. That was a revenge fight, a bad blood fight where, he got some retribution. That could have taken a little bit out of him emotionally, physically. And this fight was a little bit of a come down that he wasn't as up for. I guess I'm making excuses for a sport I don't even watch. It's amazing what us reporter guys can do, right? But I will do that just now. Maybe I don't know. I didn't watch. Maybe Adesanya could fight him again in a rematch. I don't know. But I do know he had a pretty quick turnaround. I feel like I just heard about that Pereira fight not even a couple months ago, pretty shortly, and then he turned around quickly, got in. MMA is a different beast than boxing. These guys don't stay undefeated for super long like we do in this sport. So Dana White makes sure that, in part. Bringing me back, ready to rumble vibes with the Dreamcast, says with the fact I couldn't say the first part of the name, brother, but yes, Dreamcast in the back. A historical insight on the Cuban heavyweight Felix Savon. I just know I always get Felix Savon and Teofilo Stevenson mixed up, but I believe Felix Savon was the gold medalist in the era of the 70s after Ali and Frazier and Foreman each won gold for the United States. I believe Felix Savon won a gold around that time. And when I watched taped on him, I haven't watched tape on him in many years, but he was very good. I believe it was the other Cuban heavyweight that won gold that never got to come here, Teofilo Stevenson, that knocked out Shannon Briggs in the amateurs. I think that was him. He was they were both excellent from the tape that I can recall, but I haven't watched them in some years, Felix Savon and Teofilo Stevenson, but they were both excellent Cuban gold medalist heavyweights from what I could recall, but got to get it. Mad Simple said, let's play some Shenmue while we wait. I never actually really messed with Shenmue. I got the Dreamcast for all the arcade games and fighting games. Champion Ash Sean, you still mess with Undisputed? I do. I'm just not. I got it backwards. AI. Yeah, I felt like I might. So it was Felix Savon that knocked out Shannon. That knocked out Shannon the Cannon Briggs. So it was the other way around. AI. Appreciate that, chat. You guys got to correct me when I didn't want to go straight to Google. I try to remember off top right away. But Defects 1, thank you for the super chat. Said Tube TV in the back. What? You watching pay-per-view fights on that old thing? Step your game up, bum. I'm kidding. Retro gaming. I know. No, I know. I feel like I wish everybody knew why that big. It will not be there forever. I am self-aware enough to realize this is not the greatest thing to be behind you for a professional live stream in a sports live stream. I get it, but humble beginnings, chat. You're here for the humble beginnings, and yes, sir, it is indeed used for retro gaming. Never to actually watch television on, but this is probably going in the shed sooner or later. Don't want to throw it out. Still need it for some retro gaming sometimes, but yeah. Power Stone 2, Malcolm X box. Indeed, I have Power Stone 2. I have Power Stone 2 right here, somewhere right here, but it's here. It's here. I can't find Power Stone 2, but I do got this amazing cover of a game right here. Anyways, Savon KO'd Tua too. I didn't even know that. AI, that's incredible. He KO'd David Tua, whose chin was almost unknockoutable. David Tua had okay, here we go. All right.
8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. It is Undisputed versus Undisputed. It all comes your way, a part of an electric night of boxing, presented by Premier Boxing Champions, promoted by TGB Promotions and Canelo Promotions. But before we get ready for the Jermell Charlo workout, This is the anniversary of 9/11. On that fateful day, 22 years ago, I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the families and those who were affected by that horrific tragedy. Also, I want to compliment and admire those, our first responders, who were unbelievable during that day, helping so many and thousands. And also, I want to thank the first responders who continuously look after all of us, along with those in our United States Armed Forces. 9/11, a day we will never forget here in the United States. But with that being said, we are here in Houston, Texas, and I got the WWE Hall of Famer, Houston's finest, Booker T.
Oh, man.
Booker, you know what it's like to be on big stages, on pay-per-view, worldwide television audiences. Now you get to see Jermell Charlo as he squares off against Canelo Alvarez in a few weeks' time. How excited are you, and how excited is the city of Houston for Jermell Charlo?
Man, the city is on fire right now. Not that it's just 100 degrees, but we are excited for September 30th and Jermell Charlo stepping into the ring for the biggest fight of his career. And I tell you, Vegas has been, on fire as well, putting on the big fights. PBC, I mean, we're coming off of Spence and Crawford. I mean, Tank Garcia has been so many big fights, but this one could be the one that tops them all.
What does it mean for Jermell Charlo? He's been on pay-per-view before, but this is the biggest headlining event for him in the history of his career. When you were in that position, that first big mega event, what does that mean to an athlete and to a prize fighter?
I remember this kid coming up to me one day at McGregor Park, and he said, "Booker, I want to be just like you one day." And I go, "Man, I'm a role model." And I look at Jermell Charlo as being that same kid, come from that same cloth. Went to school right here in Houston. They leave Hastings, where he graduated from, and now he has a chance to go out there and give those young kids something to actually believe in. And I think today, that's what young people need, something to believe in. And Jermell is giving everybody in H-Town that something.
We saw him earlier. He is here, but, what did you take away? He seems to be in very good spirits. He's focused, but what did you take away from just the demeanor of Jermell Charlo?
No, just they always say you could tell by the look in a man's eyes, you know what I mean? You could tell by the way a man walk. And definitely Jermell Charlo has that look in his eye. He has that walk of intensive and purpose. September 30th, it's gonna be fireworks.
No, they always say pressure burst pipes, and it is hot here in the gym, and they are ready to go. Right now, we are going to bring up the undisputed super welterweight champion of the world.
Yes.
He has been a professional since he was 17 years of age, getting ready for this mega opportunity as he tries to become a two-time undisputed champion of the world. This one at super middleweight. Jermell, this is something that you've always wanted. As you prepare for September 30th, how excited are you to step inside the ring with Canelo Alvarez?
I mean, it's exciting. It's super fun. Been doing this my whole life, so now it's time to, put on for my city, put up a shut up, and do what I got to do. It's one of the best fighters in the world. You have to be excited for this moment.
Is this the most? I mean, I will tell you. It seems like this is the most focused we've ever seen you, the most dialed in we've ever seen you. You keep getting better and better, but are you glad you're getting this opportunity now because you guys were scheduled to potentially share the ring in 2014. Now you get it 9 years later.
Well, when you got the right people operating the system and handling the business on the other end, it always makes it, the right moment. So now it's the right moment. We both 33 years old. We at our prime, we at our best, we at our fastest, our strongest. Canelo's coming to, bounce back from anything that the people are doubting him about. And I come to put on and shake the doubters off and prove to the world why I'm in this position. It's not just by coincidence that I got here and I made it this far, but now it's my turn. It's my chance to shine. I've been doing what we do for a long time, representing the Charlo twins and the Lions Only and the whole team, and PBC, and just been doing what I have to do for the world. So now it's time to really, 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 show what I'm made of, everything that I've done since I was 8 years old, when I turned pro in 2007, to all of that, put it on the line now.
I'm just wondering, after, you know, all the big fights. You know, Castaño, you had the draw, and then you came back and knocked him out. In this fight, this is the biggest fight of your career. How focused and how Derrick James put you in a position to go out there and not let this fight go to the judges?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm really dialed in as far as like my team and the folks around me. It's not just us, Derrick James. You know, I got Juan Guzman, who's, you know, works a lot on lateral movement, feet, and speed and different things. I got Titus Adams, who's an ex-NFL player, and he worked on a lot about exits, and he was a defensive tackle, so he kind of have a, you know, a different world. We got I got a doctor on hand at all times, and Kevin, Eric Hugh, and Brent Gilmore. These are like my guys and my core teammates. So I'm just in the ring doing what I have to do, and listen to Derrick James as the head coach, and we let him be the head coach and assist everyone else.
I was just saying something a second ago. A kid came up to me in McGregor Park, and he said, I want to be like you one day. And I said, man, I'm a role model. I've watched the growth in you over the last 5 years or so. And do you feel like you're a role model?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a role model. I have an amateur team, an amateur crew that, you know, I support. I go to their fights sometimes, and I know I got children myself. So, and I've been boxing for a really long time. So I'm pretty much some fan favorites and some people's best friend, I guess.
Yeah, now we're behind you. We're behind you 100%.
For sure.
Jermell, do you think that, you know, you walk around and you're a massive super welterweight. Do you think that when people are talking about this fight, saying, oh, he's going up 2 weight classes, I believe they're making too much of the size difference because you're just a naturally big guy. I'm astounded at how you've been able to make 154 throughout the duration of your career. Do you think that people are sort of looking at that and saying, all right, well, if you really don't know boxing, then they want to point to that and say, well, the size will be too much of a difference?
Well, you see how hot it is in Houston right now.
No, believe me.
How hot it is in this game, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even started working out yet, and I'm already pointing sweats. But I made 154 easy. I can still make 154. I can make whatever weight division I have the chance to fight in. So I don't think that we're gonna be too much focused on or worried about having to cut too much weight, or worried about even the fans or what the people that's critique boxing, the writers or reporters say about making weight. Making weight is what you have to do. Is something that we've been having to do for our whole career. I've been sparring bigger guys for a very long time. Now it's just all about, bringing that same skill set and the mindset that I have at 54, from speed to power to everything, and bringing it up with me at 168.
I tell you, today you seem like real calm, man.
Yeah.
You seem like you're in your own zone. And I'm just wondering, do you feel any pressure to go out and really perform at your highest level at this fight, for this fight?
I think absolutely. I feel like it's pressure. Of course, it's pressure on me. It's pressure on my team. I think that we have to, be dominant, win this fight, not just off of knockouts or anything like I'm used to, just but win this for 12 rounds, beat him for 12 rounds, or do whatever I can in that ring that's gonna protect me and leave me vicious and leave me at the best. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm calm because they're just there's no point of being a rascal.
It's a fighter's dream to be headlining on a major event that the world's watching in Las Vegas. Your name's everywhere on the Las Vegas Strip. I mean, look at the signage behind you.
Yeah.
The world will be watching this fight. How satisfying is it for you to see yourself in lights, on the marquee, sold-out crowd, T-Mobile Arena, worldwide audience, Las Vegas? Does it get any better than that as a prize fighter?
Nah, man, this is it. And it feels good. It's amazing. This is a dream come true. Just like winning Undisputed was a dream come true. Winning a world title, period. Making it out the slumps, making it out the mud, it's a dream come true. So once you get that far and you see so much and you see that yourself, you prospering and you making it through, I mean, bring it on. Keep bringing it. I mean, we can't stop God's blessings. So, stay locked in, stay dialed in, stay focused, be respectful, and just handle business, That's why, at the end of the day, I love my twin brother, because we both had this vision. We both had this dream. I love my twin brother. For the world that don't really understand, I mean, we beef here and there, but if it wasn't for the motivation and inspiration that he gave me when I was younger, of wanting to be this or wanting to do this, then he started boxing before me. So, I made it this far. I'm thankful.
Well, go ahead, Butch.
No, go ahead. No,
I'm going to let him, we're going to go and let him work out. We're going to talk with you afterwards. And, we don't want to cut into the work and stuff like that. What do you think? How would you compete against Booker T and stuff, Jermell?
I wouldn't even try.
All right, we're going to let Jermell Charlo work out. We got Booker T, the WWE Hall of Famer, the undisputed super welterweight champion of the world, looking to become a two-time undisputed champion of the world. This one at super middleweight will allow Jermell Charlo to work out here in Houston. Houston's finest, Jermell Charlo. We got Booker T in the house. We'll let Jermell Charlo work out here on the Showtime Sports and PBC YouTube page.
Okay, your boy's back. It's me again, as Demetrius Andre will say. It's me again. But yeah, all right, here we go. Just waiting to see Jermell get started. And who is it? It's Joan Guzman and Derek James, I believe, putting his gloves on. Is that Guzman putting his gloves on to the right here? Let me see. No. Oh, it is. Yep, it's Guzman finishing up the wrapping of the hands. And you guys knew I mentioned before, how much do we see of James? How much do we see of Guzman? And, it's Guzman in the ring with Jermell. The first thing Charlo brought up when he was asked about Derek James was Joan Guzman. So part of me, is almost wondering, is he really the head trainer right now, Joan Guzman? And Derek is becoming more of the second trainer, but it's starting to look like there's more of a bond and a chemistry between Guzman and Charlo right now. And, again, maybe Charlo feels like he's learned everything he can from the man who helped turn him into a knockout artist, and Derek James. It wouldn't be the first time he, would feel that way about a great trainer. Ronnie Shields is a great trainer in his own right, and he helped develop the boxer Jermell Charlo, the guy who moves around the ring, uses his jab a lot. Derek James is very jab heavy too, but he's the guy who developed that mover, that boxer. Derek James came in and produced the knockouts, made him a knockout artist and the undisputed 154-pound champion. Joan Guzman added the touches of punching and combination off the ropes to knock Castaño out to become undisputed. So right now, he's the guy who's provided the newest form of growth, I think, for Charlo. And that's a little bit why he has a little bit more of his ear right now in the ring. You saw him just wrap him up, and he was the final man to depart with the fighter, not Derek. Now Derek's back in the ring with Jermell. And just beyond any trainer talk, just curious to see, of course, what we see from the fighter, Jermell Charlo, right here. So Jermell starting up on those legs a little bit. High guard. Shooting with the jab, but I mentioned I want to see the jab off footwork. See how he throws the jab a little flat there? It's just he's staying in front and letting it go. He needs to pivot off that jab, create an angle off that jab with lateral movement. Don't just move straight backwards into the ropes when you want to create distance. Create a little bit of separation off that jab, off an angle. Right now, just warming up. He's not doing that. He's lined up and throwing it right down the center. See, he's starting to move a little bit to his left, and I want to see the jab off of that movement. But every time, they're a little bit more like that on that second one. So here we go. Mel, not a guy who leads his lead hand low a lot. Even though he's an athletic, a lot of athletic fighters, explosive fighters, they'll mix it up between dropping that lead hand and keeping it up. Mel, for the most part, keeps it a little bit textbook with keeping the hand up. He'll drop it a little bit, but not as often as other guys with his level of speed and athleticism. And Derek James is usually very big on his fighters keeping their hands up, especially that lead hand to catch shots. Charlo right now attacking down the middle with 1-2s. He's stepping off to his left. There's not enough of an angle off that jab. But you do see the feet that Charlo does have. And right there, he squared up a little bit. He squares up a little bit when he gets on his lateral movement, and you have to make the legs move quicker, but that could be an issue of balance with Canelo. The best can pivot off and give you half their body. They don't have to square up when they get on their bike. They can still give you half of their body. There's Charlo with some nice combinations standing in there, and that's who he really is. He's a boxer puncher. He's not this pure sharpshooter from the outside. He's going to move around. He's going to use his jab, but inevitably, this is where his real offense comes from, planting his feet and throwing combinations. And if he doesn't set that up off the jab, off using a dominant jab, an educated jab, and it's a ho-hum jab here and there, and then he plants his feet to throw those combinations, you know, he may not have the proper distance off the jab, off dictating the center of the ring with the jab to let those combinations go, and he'll let those combinations go in a range where Canelo's not at the end of the shots like Castaño, and Canelo's in a range where he could return fire, and he'll have the shorter, more compact shots in those exchanges. So I feel like Charlo will be better served making more educated, dominant use of that jab that made guys like Jason Rosario, you know, wince up and have a seizure. Right now, keeping the hands up. Again, he doesn't drop that lead hand a lot, does Jermell. And that could be a good thing and a bad thing. When you can't drop your lead hand on the back foot, it makes you a little bit more predictable defensively. But when you could lower that lead hand, become more flexible.
You are watching the Jermell Charlo workout here in Houston, Texas. The undisputed super welterweight champion of the world gets set to square off against Canelo Alvarez on Saturday, September 30th on Showtime pay-per-view. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time, alongside the WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. Ray Flores here with the esteemed trainer of Jermell Charlo, one of the best trainers in the game, the trainer of the year last year, Derek James. Derek, it is great to talk with you. I know you're watching your man prepare and get ready for this huge showdown against Canelo Alvarez. But what does this opportunity mean to Jermell Charlo, yourself, and the entire team as you guys get set to match up against Canelo Alvarez?
With bending your knees as a tall fighter, you're more flexible and everything, but now you're not fighting as tall.
In the men's division to have
now, I'm saying all this, nitpicking. Charlo still looks excellent in many ways. His feet look good. His combinations look good. But there's just certain things before on this pre-show I was telling you guys I was looking for.
Now, Booker, I know that Jermell is embodied in what Houston is all about, but how much of an addition has Derek
and that head movement comes when his feet are planted or he's going forward. It's not the defensive nuance off the back foot. Let me shut up now and let these guys talk for a second.
I think the formula don't start in the gym. I think the formula, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, as far as getting that young man to that point to where he's a grown man and he can go out there and handle his business. As far as being a role model, I've seen the growth of Jermell Charlo over these last few years, and I saw Jermell Charlo before. As well, you know, and I see the difference. What has been, you know, your thought process in, you know, making Jermell Charlo get to that point?
I think that it's been so much about helping develop him as a fighter and at the same time as an individual, as a man, right? Because I think that if everything else outside the ring is bad, nothing in the ring will be good also. So I think you just got to keep pushing his skill set, helping develop his skill set, help develop his intellect about boxing so he understands everything I want him to do, and at the same time, help him become, you know, a better man.
I got a saying, you know, with my students, preparation is the only luck you're going to have, and that's in the ring as well as in life. What's your, you know, your
hey, listen, I tag along with that because you got to realize that you win a fight in the gym, right? You win a fight in the gym. There's nothing you can do in the fight that night that would help you. You're not pulling nothing out of your butt, the rabbit out of it. No, it's you actually doing it in the gym, preparing, and you're doing it right. That's what it's all about.
Now, Derek, for you, what weight would you like to see Jermell come in at? Because that seems to be the $1 million question, because people are saying, okay, Jermell's going up 2 weight classes for this assignment. He's a naturally big 154-pounder. I believe his power will translate on September 30th, but for you, ideally, is there a number? Is it 64, 65? Does it not matter? Are people making too much of that?
I think that, I mean, I really don't follow what everybody's saying because I'm not on the internet like that, but you said those numbers, 64, 63, 65, somewhere in the area, but I think that you don't have, just because you're moving up a 2-weight division doesn't mean you have to be you have to gain all that weight. I think that his advantage is his size, and I think that you have to maximize what you have, and you don't have to, we see smaller guys sparring bigger guys every day of the week. The smaller guys are not getting up to the heavier guy's size to be able to deal with them. It's just like, I have something that you don't have. And so I think that he doesn't have to become that guy to be that guy. And I think that hopefully that'll be what he understands and knows the night of fight, so he's not so heavy.
Now, not giving away the game plan, but what intangibles does Jermell Charlo have that are going to help propel him over Canelo Alvarez on September 30th, Showtime pay-per-view, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time?
But not giving away the game plan.
No, I'm just saying, what intangibles? Like, what do you like? I mean, what?
If I put a finger on one of the things,
I mean, what is it like? Demeanor? What I mean, like intensity.
I know what you mean.
I'm not trying. You know.
I know what you mean. You asked the right question, but that question gets, for me to answer that question is to give up anything. I'm tight, like
You got a poker face on. I understand.
Yeah. I tell you what. This night against Canelo Alvarez, it's the biggest fight of Charlo's career, by any means. Under those bright lights, how do you see this fight playing out?
I see it as Jermell going in there, and Canelo. It's going to be a back and forth. I think because Canelo has to impose his will, right? But at the same time, I believe that Jermell has to be able to show him that I'm here also, and I'm not going to let you be who you are. And because if you let the fighters be who they are, they'll walk over you every day of the week. So it's like you got to be able to stop him from being his greatest self, and that's what Jermell has to be able to do that.
Just answered your question for you.
Well, see, he said it in a different way. That's why he is the WWE Hall of Famer.
But see, remember this, I didn't say what he was going to do.
Yeah.
I said what,
Look, there's a reason why you're the trainer of the year. You got, rings on your finger, and I'm not there. With that being said, Derek, finally, how big would this be if Jermell Charlo were to become the second fighter in history to be undisputed champion? This one, though, at 168. That was a couple months ago. Terrence Crawford's the first one. I'm not trying to bring back history here.
I thought you were talking about the same time.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. So Terrence was the one to do it first, and then Jermell would be the second one.
It's okay. It's a good thing. I mean, I don't have an issue with saying that. That's reality.
Yeah.
You deal with reality. It's over. It's in the past now. But yeah.
But what would this mean for Jermell and the entire team?
I think that it would be great. I think that at the same time, I see Jermell making history, and it would have to be considered one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time because think about this, most of the people don't even have him rated in their pound-for-pound ratings. So to be a super middleweight undisputed champ and the light middleweight undisputed champ at the same time, two amazing feats at the same time.
So would that do you think that Jermell should be number one if he beats Canelo? Or is that just for media members like me to discuss that?
I'm just talking about history in itself because there's not another fighter to ever do it. Ray Robinson was the only guy who tried it and failed. And not many people have been able to try it and fail and try it and be successful or try to even become undisputed champ, period. So to be able to do it in two divisions, it's a big deal.
All right, Derek, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for giving us your expert analysis. We look forward to seeing you during fight week, and we'll allow you to continue to train. Your guy, Jermell Charlo, the undisputed super welterweight champion of the world here in Houston.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, David. Always. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
It's all good. That's why.
I don't know about how you thought about different
All right, Chad, I did not realize they were already talking when I was talking at the same time towards the end of me breaking down Charlo's workout. But in Charlo's shadow boxing, you see a lot of punch. He moves, but then when he doesn't move and punch at the same time, he's usually doing one or the other. And that's why I mentioned in the pregame the jab with the footwork in concert with it. Not just move around, and then you plant your feet and throw punches, but punch off the movement, give angles off of it. And I didn't see that a lot from Charlo in his shadow boxing. He has good movement, but once it's time to really fire or move his head, he stays planted. He doesn't punch off the angles like Crawford did with his jab against Spence. And another thing, you see again, I'm questioning like who's really the head trainer. Joan Guzman is in the ring with this fighter. He's gloving up his fighter. He's putting the hand wraps on his fighter. And Derek James doing interviews outside of the ring while Jermell Charlo is locking in with Joan Guzman. So again, and I'm starting to think like, you know, Guzman's really become the main voice in Charlo's camp. So the guy that he's really listening to because it's given him some of his most recent growth. So here we go. Let's see. This is good stuff. Let's see how Charlo looks on the mitts here. Let me make sure I'm not talking over anybody again. All right, I'm good because I was dropping some gems, man. They got cut off, chat. I was dropping some gems, man. So let's see here.
All right, we are back here in Houston watching Jermell Charlo work out. He is currently in the ring, the undisputed super welterweight champion of the world. And right, Booker, again, such a privilege to be having you with me. You were able to get that incredible information from Derek James. Obviously, things that I need to pick up with my notebook. I got my yellow pad here, for those of you that don't know. Anyways, but as we get closer, what I'm noticing about Jermell Charlo is that there is this excitement, but there is a confidence, there's a focus.
Now let's
this
see if
is
Charlo
the best I've ever seen Jermell Charlo mentally, physically, spiritually. Is that fair to say?
No, it seemed like a light shining bright
with
down
Charlo,
on him
and he
right
starts
now.
with that power jab, nice sweeping right hand, nice uppercut.
Canelo
Punches look
Alvarez,
snappy and good. Looks good here. Punches looking good to start.
As well as seems to be focused more so than
hooks there, sweeping right hand, left hook,
there was a movie character that I could say,
but these punches do look sharp and fast and explosive by Charlo. He doesn't look sluggish. He doesn't look like he's losing hand speed in moving up 14 pounds. He looks fast and sharp. The punches look snappy, like he's not pushing the extra weight.
I mean, just look at
Charlo
what he's
looks
doing
good
right now, just to that pad.
You know what? I got to disagree with you.
But you got to use that jab. He can't fall in love with those, the left hook, the sweeping right hand, the uppercuts. He's got to use the jab and get those combinations and those shots off at the right spots, at the right time, in the right real estate in the ring. And that comes off the jab.
Punishing, and on the 30th time, I can only imagine.
Well, good shots here from Jermell Charlo. Let me mute my mic so I can just hear the snap on the punches for a second.
Athlete and going all over the world in what you've done and headlining.
Now I realize I was talking over Booker T, and I'll just shut up.
Jermell Charlo is already a made man, super welterweight champion of the world, undisputed. Now he's looking to do it twice, 2 weight classes above. What does that signify for him as he inches closer to that date, September 30th, against Canelo?
You know, you think about the fights and previous, the Tony Harris's, the Lubas, the Castaños, all those fights were big fights, but this one right here under the bright lights, it doesn't get any bigger than this. This is a history-making moment for Charlo, and the thing is, those moments, you only get them one time, perhaps, and you never get them again. So this is the biggest night of this young man's career. He has to cash in.
When you're in an arena, now, we know T-Mobile Arena is going to be sold out. Limited tickets are available, AXS.com, presented by Premier Boxing Champions, promoted by TGB Promotions and Canelo Promotions. But when you're making that walk from the locker room to the ring, now my first question to you, do you hear the roar of the crowd as you're getting ready to make your entrance?
You know, I remember my first WrestleMania, and I remember being in the gorilla position, that's the go position, and I got ready to walk out the curtain, and I remember the Undertaker, he looked at me and he go, "Hey, Book, make sure you stop and take it all in." And if he wouldn't have told me that, I wouldn't have done that. I probably would have had tunnel vision and walked right to the ring. But I stepped out on that stage, and I looked around, and it was more than 70,000 people, and I was like, oh, man. And all of those fans, their energy radiated through me. And that's the only thing I think about with Charlo. It's going to be, sweaty palms. It's going to be butterflies, but that's when you got to get those butterflies to line up and fly straight.
So how do you handle that? How do you harness that?
Well, I think, the nervousness actually worked for you at that time. I think if you're not nervous going into
all right, guys, looks like we got audio a little cleaner, so I could talk over this a little bit. But yeah, Charlo,
his greatest attribute.
Good signs from Charlo. What I like from Charlo, he doesn't look any slower, 14 pounds up. His punches look sharp. snappy,
in just
fast.
a-
He looks
you
every
can
bit as
tell that he
fast and
has
as
a
sharp
game
and
plan, but
explosive in
also
68 than he
with
did at
Jermell,
54.
he has
It's
plan
harder
A.
to judge on
I'm
TV
not-
than it
I'm
is
not-
up close
I
in
don't know, but I
person. That's what
believe he
sucks
has,
about
like,
not being
plan A,
there.
plan 1A,
I can
plan
tell he
1B.
doesn't have the
There are
heavy
different
hands to
ways
the level
that
of
he can
Canelo.
attack you.
What I don't like about
Of course,
Charlo,
but that's where,
the
I
most
think Gary
important
Cain
punch
is
for
gonna
him
come
is
into
the
play,
jab
in
here.
a huge way,
And
just
these
because
hooks and
you
uppercuts
go
are
back to the
sharp
Tony
and
Harrison
fast,
loss,
and they're
you
good.
go back to the
But
Costanzo
trying to
draw.
hook with the hooker
You
and
know, he came
Canelo,
in with
I
a
don't think
certain
it'll work
mentality in both of
unless
those fights.
you
You
have
see
him a
him
little bit
lackadaisical,
outside of your
maybe
longer
not,
arms by dictating
ready
off
for
the jab.
that
And watching
night.
Charlo shadow box,
That cannot happen.
he has good
in
feet,
this fight. He has
but
to be
the
totally
feet don't
prepared.
work in concert
Preparation is the only luck
with
he's ever
the
gonna have in a
jab
fight
as
like
much.
this.
He
And
doesn't.
Derek James has
The
to
one
be
thing Terrence Crawford did beautifully
X
against Errol
factor
Spence, he
as
always
far
gave
as,
an angle
getting
from
him to that
round
point.
one off his jab, out jabbing Spence. And Charlo definitely has to out jab Canelo to start the fight and dictate with it to get off these shots right here, the left hook, the sweeping right hand, the right uppercut. He's got to get him off at the right time, at the right real estate in the ring, because if he tries to get off these punches he's shooting off right here with Canelo in his chest or at mid to close range, Canelo's punches are a little bit more compact, and he could get underneath Charlo's shots and win those exchanges. But if Charlo can dictate off the jab and keep Canelo on the outside of that jab and pick his spots to get off this more explosive offense, then he can do his thing. That's a nice right uppercut, right hand. These are nice explosive shots. And the good news for Charlo, he hasn't lost any speed or snap, moving up 14 pounds. But when he was shadow boxing, everything he threw, he had to stop his feet when it was time to really throw. You know, he would move around, reset, and the jab didn't come off of the angle. It came move around the ring, and then when you stop, boom, 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 right up the gut, and some head movement, but not the defensive stuff off the back foot. Once he's moving his head and staying in front of Canelo, that's Canelo's game. Canelo's head movement's better, and his shots are more short and compact. He'll get underneath Charlo's shots and win those exchanges. So it's good that Charlo bends those knees, but because he bends those knees and looks to move his head a little bit and stay in these exchanges like he's showing right here, doing this work, you know, that could favor Canelo. He's better off making better use of his jab and giving angles off his jab on the outside, picking his spots with these power shots. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing from Charlo here.
Jermell Charlo is going to have here
in
Houston.
Let me tell you, I got the key to the city here in Houston, and trust me, Jermell Charlo goes out and wins.
Let's see, I want to see the jab off an angle, not just keeping your feet planted and letting it go after you've moved around left to right, right to left, and then you plant your feet and fire. You want to see those feet move in concert off the jab.
This on September 30th. If he were to have a homecoming fight.
I mean, these are good shots by Charlo. Fast. He's not really getting, but I want it. But he's not. He's throwing them 1, 2, 3 at a time, and he gets more fat on his punches when he throws combinations more than he does single shots here and there. Here's Derek James giving him some instructions.
And do their thing. Houston is going to come out and support in the biggest way. And after a fight like this, like I say, the parade is going to be huge. And I'm going to tell you, I'm predicting it. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a knockout.
Wilson says there's no retreat in his feet. His feet won't be his defense, and he needs that against Canelo. He has a wide base. Instead of fighting tall all the time, with the feet a little bit more narrow, and you're standing more straight up. So there's some cons with that. But you could fight with your height a little bit more. He bends his knees a little bit more, and that's part of why, you know, he's this boxer. He has a good jab, but he doesn't jab off a lot of angles a lot of times. And he's a boxer puncher. He's not a pure boxer. He wants to explode with combinations and power shots at times.
But he certainly put it in that work.
Is Showtime talking off me again? Let's see.
Champion of the world, Undisputed versus Undisputed, September 30th, Showtime pay-per-view, T-Mobile Arena.
He's got to have defense on the back foot. It's good that he's technically sound and keeps his hands up. But hands up is better when you're in range or, you know, going forward and things like that. But when you're trying to fight and box off the back foot, you got to have some nuance to the defense. The high guard and backing straight up isn't going to be enough. And he backs up side to side, but he doesn't punch off a lot of that side to side movement. He did off the ropes with Castaño. He did off the ropes with Castaño better, but he got himself put on the ropes too much because he doesn't hold the center of the ring behind a dominant jab. So if Castaño could push him from ropes to ropes, probably Canelo can too, but So he moves off. So here he is moving off, and then the feet set, and he punches, and then he moves off. Feet set, punch. Feet set, punch. But he's not punching off the movement in concert in one. He has to stop and punch. So that's the problem with Charlo's footwork. He has good footwork, and he can move for all 12 rounds. But he doesn't punch and move at the same time that often. He did do it at times off the ropes against Castano well. But if he tries to do that with Canelo, punching combination off the ropes, Canelo could take advantage of that better than Castano, who landed plenty of shots with Charlo fighting that way. But he is the better conditioned athlete than Canelo. You can see him talking right here. He's not getting tired at all. When I used to see Sean Porter do this drill, he would give a lot of angles off his punches with his movement. And Charlo's not giving a whole lot of angles off his punches. He moves around good, but then, again, he stops and fires. Someone like Sean, when I'd see him do this, he'd do a sweeping right hand and pivot off to his left, then come back up with a left hook and pivot off to his right, then duck underneath and go to the body, and then exit range. He would do a lot with feet and hands at once. Charlo kind of does one or the other. Nice uppercuts by Charlo. Don't get me wrong. Nice uppercuts, nice hooks, but these are not the shots that you want to go toe-to-toe with Canelo for. You want to set it up all off that jab and off intelligent movement off the jab, angles off the jab. Try to exchange power shots with Canelo like that. Canelo, again, shorter, more compact puncher, shorter man, better upper body head movement than the taller man with the longer abdomen.
I'm retired, 100%.
Charlo coming out the ring now. And are we not going to see any mitt work? We're not going to see any mitt work? Why is no one at the media workout? Asked Drew. They had to cancel all media. I was supposed to be there today, but they had to cancel media because of COVID scares. Looks like he's going to the heavy bag now. Hands up. Going again to those hooks, but we need the long-range offense, Jermell. We need the long-range offense. The 1, the 2, and we need some long-range offense. You can't just rely on hooks and uppercuts in exchange with Canelo and think you're going to get the better of the exchange. This isn't Castano. This isn't Tony Harrison. This is a guy with better defense than them who punches much harder than them. And you can't just will your way through those exchanges and outfight them like a lion. You're going to have to be smart and do things Canelo has problems with.
You are watching the Jermell Charlo workout here in Houston.
But Charlo looks good and sharp, though, at the same time.
Native son of Houston, Texas.
I'm just nitpicking because there's specific things I told you guys I was looking for heading into this workout.
On Saturday, September 30th on Showtime pay-per-view.
Nice straight right hands there. That's better. 3 or 4 straight right hands and then pivoted off with a left hook. That was good stuff there by Charlo. Need to see a little bit more with the angles and the feet off his punches. The punches are fast. They're sharp. He hasn't lost any speed.
To further his legacy against Canelo Alvarez, and make no mistake about it, Jermell
nice
Charlo
combination by Charlo, and then he moves his head around. But
Derek James, the trainer of the year last year,
that's not the range we want to fire at all night. Need to see some long range work by Charlo here. Again, it's good work. It's all good work, but this is mid to close range work, and I think that's more Canelo's fight in that area.
With the WWE Hall of Famer Booker
it could be Charlo's fight, but in spots.
As Booker from right here in Houston,
see that jab? He threw 3 jabs and then that double left hook. But when he threw the 3 jabs, he didn't give an angle off the jab. He has yet to give me an angle off the jab.
And Booker, I mentioned the fact that you were former WCW heavyweight champion of the world. You know what it's
nice
like to
1-2s. The 1-2s are nice.
With that, it comes a certain level of distinction, of pride. People look at you differently.
Steps off to
How
his
do you
left,
handle that?
but doesn't punch off the step off. It's okay.
As far as fans go,
you guys are getting my point.
How do you think he's handling it? Like how you handled it?
well, I think you can't read your own press clippings. You can't look at yourself in the mirror and wink at yourself and think that you are actually that guy, because there's so much more work still yet to be put in. When you're not working, somebody else is.
Reset. See, he throws the 1-2, steps off to the right to the other side of the bag, resets, and then punches. But that reset is what can hurt him against Canelo. There can't be that reset. It has to be offense to defense, defense to offense, hands and feet working in concert. It can't be punch, punch, reset, move around, reset. Canelo can pick up on that. He can get a beat on that.
Higher expectations because, okay, you go there and you win a championship. He's won undisputed super welterweight championship.
There's that bag work. Let's see. I'm hoping we get some mitt work.
Fashion, but now there is an expectation in which
Wilson said he's always sat on his punches, though. It's a good thing. That's what's helped. Derek James has helped him sit on his punches and become a knockout artist at 154, one of the best ever at 54. But sitting down on his punches, that's not what Bivol did. Okay, guys, thank you for saying that. Bivol and Mayweather didn't do that a lot. They picked their spots to do it, but for the most part, Bivol took something off his punches to make sure he never overcommitted and overextended to catch a counter in the exchange. And that's the problem with Charlo committing in exchanges. That gives Canelo his best chance to hurt him in those same exchanges. Bivol, look at the difference between Charlo's jab and Bivol's jab. Bivol's jab is always active with his feet. He doesn't just move around, and then stop and jab. Bivol pivots off his jab. He moves to his right off his jab. He moves backwards off his jab. He moves to his left off his jab. His feet are always bouncing and active when he's jabbing and throwing the long-range offense, the 1-2, the 1-2, bouncing his feet, 1-2, the 1-2, steps back, 1-2, steps, he can do it with his feet in concert. Mel picks the feet up, moves around, plants, fires, picks the feet up, moves around, plant, fires. That's more what I'm seeing from him, and that's going to be a problem because, again, when you commit to those shots in the exchanges, that's something people never really did with Canelo. He didn't commit to his punches a whole lot. He didn't stay in there until Canelo began to get tired and lay on the ropes, and even then, always weary of the counter, he never really sat down and chucked that right hand at Canelo, trying to really hurt him. He just wanted to touch him. He outboxed him with a longer jab and educated feet. And that's what Charlo has to do more of instead of all these combinations at mid to close range.
I think it's going to
there you
show
go.
In his performance on September 30th. He is one of those guys.
Bivol had a great game plan since payday. He did, and that's what Charlo needs—a great game plan. He can't just fight the same fight he did against Castano. That won't work. He got hit too much against Castano. He didn't hold the center of the ring with Castano. He didn't impose his jab enough. He just beat him in the exchanges because he was bigger and more explosive. You know, and he fought off the ropes extremely well. That Joan Guzman effect. But he can't. It doesn't matter how well you fight off the ropes. You can't let Canelo just drive you to the ropes all night long and think you're going to explode with combinations and have your way off the ropes. It's not going to be the same ballgame. Maybe I'm wrong.
On September 30th, it's here. And it's going to be a dynamite. It's going to be a knockdown drag.
People talk about old school throwback fighters many times. And it's almost something that
when he drops that lead hand and moves his head a little bit, it's not the most comfortable look for him.
Is a throwback.
I don't love that. I don't trust his defense out of that look like I would with other guys who are more sophisticated with dropping their lead hand down.
To initiate who he wants. I want that guy. I want the baddest man on the planet. When he fought Jason Rosario back 3 years ago in this pay-per-view maiden voyage, along with his brother Jermell Charlo, who fought Sergey Derevyanchenko at Mohegan Sun during COVID times. No fans were allowed in the building. But he wanted that opportunity against Jason Rosario, and he put him away.
And then he doesn't vary the tempo on his jab like Bivol or Mayweather did to beat Canelo. Those guys would take something off of it, touch with it, work levels with it to the body and the head. Mel has a great jab too, but not as educated with them, with his feet behind, using it off angles and stuff. And for the most part, he throws a shotgun jab. He throws the jab to hurt you, and sometimes that leaves him a little front foot heavy when he does that too. Again, that balance.
I want to bring back a point about you talked about.
But his balances look solid throwing these combinations.
Absolutely understandable. But
I mentioned, want to see if he gets a little fat when he opens up with combinations, but he hasn't. His punches have stayed very sharp throughout this whole workout.
Does that motivate him? Does that add fuel to his fire?
It might sound like I'm being really hard on Charlo, but he actually looks pretty good. Looks very good.
To what he's
doing. He looks fast and sharp.
I always knew that I was good.
And again, his condition is excellent. He does not. He's hardly breaking a sweat.
Like that. But when you're good,
but this punch selection, man, I don't know. I feel like he needs more long range offense than this.
And that's what Jermell Charlo is going throughout his career, not because of anything else.
And you need every punch in the book to beat someone like Canelo. But
good. Give him credit for that.
Well, I love what you just said. It's all about checks and championships.
Isaac Bermuda said this is giving me Errol Spence vibes. No, I think Mel has more life in his legs than Spence did for his workout. I think he's faster than Spence, even as a 54-pounder and not a 47-pounder. Look at that quick combination, right as I say it. That was very fast by Charlo, opening up. Left hook, right hook. There it is again. Left hook, right hook. Keeps his hands up and moves his head. But keeps his hands up and moves his head. Doesn't have a shoulder roll. Doesn't have exquisite upper body movement. He's a tall guy, so when he tries to do the upper body movement like a Canelo would, it's a longer abdomen. It can't be as compact and as quick with the upper body movement as a Canelo. So
Canelo Alvarez has something to prove. I mean,
to combat that on the long range, you have to be a master of distance as the taller fighter and know how to make a guy miss by just an inch, because you can't do all that getting underneath shots like a Canelo can as a shorter guy. And Charlo is not a master of distance. Very explosive, very good, very a great boxer puncher at 54, but not a master of distance like Terrence or Shakur.
Wondering, is this the wrong guy to step in there to get it done with?
And that's what he needs for this fight, to be more of a master of distance, because if he throws all these wonderful combinations he's throwing on the bag, if he throws them and Canelo's in range, mid to close range to do the same thing,
I wasn't a believer,
it'll be a problem.
In the Charlo brothers.
You weren't.
No, that's what I told him. I said I wasn't a believer. But
CW said Jermell got the best chance out of any PBC fighter. I disagree. That would be Benavidez or Morrell. Benavidez or Morrell, I think, stand a better chance than Charlo.
I just love the fact that Jermell mentioned, he goes, my brother Jermell started.
Beautiful combination there by Jermell.
And they are still looking.
Jab to the head, jab to the body. Nice left hook to the body. He's mixing up. But he's not as heavy-handed as Canelo. But he is going to throw more punches than Canelo.
No matter what it is. I mean, obviously, you guys are athletes. We are not. But there's nothing like working with your brother, being a part of something with your brother. Jermell certainly feeds off of Jermell and vice versa.
A lot of inside and mid-range work from Charlo here.
Harlem Heat.
And it's good stuff. It's very good stuff. But I just think that range is Canelo's wheelhouse in this fight, more than his. Not saying he won't have success at those ranges doing that at times, but
being at the top, spot.
And it looks like the champion, the 154-pound champ, is de-gloving, which sucks. I wanted to see some mitt work. Chat, I want to see some mitt work with Joan Guzman, but it looks like we won't get it.
Did it, this journey, but they've done it together. Both of these
Benavidez don't have the defense of the footwork. I think Benavidez has the size, the work rate, the hand speed, the punching power, and the youth to give Canelo all he can handle, especially down the stretch.
Lions only great to see Jermell Charlo.
But all right, let's hear what Charlo had to say.
I'm ready to hit. I got a couple of moves. Yeah.
Well, Jermell, I know you're getting ready to, you're finishing off your workout, but we will put you in the middle. Booker, you and I will stand over this way. But Jermell, I mean, you just seeing you work out, I truly do believe that you are in such a great place. How excited are you just to get to Las Vegas? When are you going to get to Vegas is my question to you.
Hey, it's hot in Texas, and it feels good in Texas. I don't got no distractions. A lot of people, they leave their crib and stuff because they got distractions, or they don't got the love that I don't know why they leave their crib. That's what they do it for. I don't understand, but I have everything here from recovery to everything. So I want to stay in Texas as long as I can. And, but, I just finished a cool workout. It was quick. I worked out this morning as well, because I usually work out sometimes in the morning. So I worked
out. You did a double workout, huh, today?
I have to do that for, for the fans and the Showtime and the viewers. But I went easy right now, a little light. I couldn't show y'all everything. I can't give out my secrets while y'all over here recording me and stuff,
But if that's you going light, that's me going hard like times 10.
Well, I mean, you're not a boxer.
Lead half of that court.
So leave it to me. And the Canelos.
I mean, you're not even breathing hard right now. So obviously, you're in great shape. Have you been doing like any extra sparring?
Oh, man. A lot. Yeah, like I've been doing so much sparring. I've been doing so much training, strength training. I've been doing a lot of conditioning. I've been working on, mental as well. So it's not just all about physical. I've been preparing myself, the full 9 yards around this process. I've been possibly training for about 14 weeks, so I've been going for a real long time So, you know, like I said, you know, no fight gets made without negotiation. So this fight, of course, had to have some negotiations. We just kept it quiet and did what we did. It's released. It's out here to the public. Now we fighting the best fighter in the world. We from Texas. We from Houston. He from Mexico. Not too far. I know he's hot over there.
Did you think this fight was going to ever come to fruition?
Not necessarily, but when I seen that he was making a move to PBC, I said, okay, maybe me and my brother, one of us can get our hands on Canelo and make a legacy fight, generational wealth type of fight. And so that's definitely what they bring, you know, and I deserve it. You know, I conquered my weight division, and what else there is for me to do other than continue to fight challengers, and I got an awesome challenge. So right now with Canelo is a massive thing.
I was just talking to Ray, and I was telling Ray, he was talking about as far as the championship thing. I said, when you're the best, you know, checks and championships, that's just part of the game, right?
Right. Getting money is a part of why we do this as well. You know, nobody does. We prize fighters. Yeah. We definitely in here for a reason. We're not, and you know, we one of the highest paid combat sporters in the world. So, and we put a lot of work in, a lot of dedication, a lot of determination, family sacrificing. It's things that we do in boxing that a lot of people on the outside world don't see. They only get to see the big major fights. They don't know the things that we go through as far as injuries, as far as, you know, recovering from those things, and just stand on it, man.
Jermell, have you thought about what your ring walk is going to mean to you? Because I asked Booker T, you know, when he was in his first WrestleMania, what that was like, and was he able to soak in the moment? You have, you know, these memorable ring walks, you know, with your ring attire and your music, and the fans get excited. But now it's happening in Las Vegas, sold out crowd, millions watching around the world on Showtime pay-per-view. Have you thought about what that's going to mean to you? And, you know, do you have a little bit of a preview of what we can expect with your ring walk a little bit for September 30th?
Oh, man, truthfully, I have like personal artists in my mind that I would like to ring walk me out. But I'm you know, like I'm so dialed in, man, that it's been hard to even, you know, connect on that. I mean, I'm excited about my attire, what I'm gonna wear. I have a one-of-one custom piece made from Paris. Balenciaga made it. We're talking like a six-figure type of outfit. And so I'm very excited about that. And that's pretty cool. You know, other than that, I haven't really got to what I'm gonna ring walk. I know I got my boy Toby from A-Leaf, and why not put on a stage like that? Keep the Texas thing going. You know, I know Canelo gonna have his big mariachi band, and that's cool. I mean, but you know, if I stumble upon a larger global artist that wants to wipe me out, maybe Chris Brown. That's one of my good friends. You know, we could come out with some heat. He made me a song before, so it's, I mean, I don't know yet, man. I haven't really put my mind to it. It's getting closer, so I know I need to lock that in. But I'm not in competition with the Terrence Crawford ring walk. I know that's what everybody's trying to get the answer to. That motherfucker came out with Eminem. That was some bad shit. Like, I ain't gonna front. That's some cool shit. And it's gonna be hard to beat that. He win. That's not my world. We don't get paid for that anyways. But I almost had like Lil Wayne or something. I had some people I've been in contact with. So we shall see.
Yeah, no, that ring walk, for me, I always say, you know, I was always nervous. I was always, you know, sweaty palms, you know, butterflies flying around. But I always let that nervous energy work for me. Every time, I could never make a mistake because I had that nervous energy working for me. Your ring walk, like you say, only a few get a chance to do what you do. You're like a gladiator.
I'm nervous. I'll be nervous every fight. You know, I've been nervous since I was younger. No lie. You know, this is my life I'm putting on the line. I want to get back and get out of there safe. Every fight I'm nervous. I'm not one of those I'm not shy. Because if I was shy, I wouldn't be able to get in the ring, you know. But of course, you know, you want to make sure you do good. You want to perform right. You want to look good while you fighting. You want to put all on the line and make adjustments through adversity. And that's the hardest part about, you know, the boxing is you don't never know. You never know what to expect out of this sport or what's gonna happen. And some of the greatest fighters have lost. Some of the greatest fighters have won. And the greatest fighters have won. So I'm amongst the Hall of Fames already. I'm in the top. I'm just daring to be great. I'm going to be great, and that's it.
You're already great.
Yes, sir.
On September 30th, if Jimmy Lennon were to say at the end of the fight, and the new undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, and he says your name, what would that mean to you? What would that mean to your family? What would that mean to Houston?
It should show, first, me that, you know, never stop believing. God is real. It's already written for me, you know, so whatever happens is already written. So that alone allows me to, you know, feel comfortable and happy no matter what the outcome is. Me, let my family and the believers that do rock with the Lions only know that, you know, there's a change is coming, you know, and there's always out with the old, in with the new. And I'm an old head, and so if I accomplish this massive goal, it'll be hard to beat. And I was being a record book for a very, very long time, amongst the greatest in the world of boxing, and that's super exciting for me.
I know you got to go, but I really want to know from you in terms of, you know, you are not just happy to be at this stage. You belong here, and you've proven it time and time again. But how much focused are you to be able to not only go out and compete against Canelo, but to beat him and say, all right, this is now the Jermell Charlo era officially, but in a new weight class?
I just got to stay hungry, you know, and I've been hungry, and just to be in there, you know, like a lot of people hyping up the, you know, you fighting Canelo, that's understood, you know. I would have fought him years ago. It probably wouldn't have been at such a large magnitude because I'm undisputed. So I'm like I said, it's already written. I worked my ass off in my division. He worked his ass off in his division. He made the right decisions, business moves, and it's only here now. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't too much stay focused on that I'm in the ring with Canelo. I'm hungry. I want to win. I want to win this fight for my city. I want to win this for my town, my children. I want to win. I just want to keep working hard, and everything that I put on the line and all this hard training that I did, I just want to get it out of it. I want to see what it's worth. I want to test myself.
Bookie, I want more for Jermell.
Yeah, that's pretty much said it all. I mean, I'm looking forward to the 30th. Looking forward to watching you go out there and make history in grand fashion, and you know,
be there. They can't be there. Tune in.
Booyah.
Cop it on pay-per-view.
Showtime pay-per-view.
Showtime pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.com. Come to the T-Mobile Arena. Check in with the Lions. We're gonna be roaring. Let's go.
How much does that? Lions only.
Yeah.
How much are you going to harness that as you prepare to step inside the ring against Canelo?
Hey, there's only a few lions that can make it. And I'm at the end of that. I'm at the end of that mountain. I'm ready to leap over and look and see what I got. Yeah, that's my land. That's my pasture. I'm looking at what's mine.
On behalf of the WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, the undisputed super welterweight champion of the world, Jermell Charlo, Houston's finest. Also, your brother.
Sweat in. His shirt, James. Hey, I big respect to you, Booker. Big respect to you, Flores. I know y'all took your time out. Shout out to everybody that is tuning in right now. Hey, it's time. It's time.
You heard it here from the champ. It's time. Jermell Charlo, Canelo Alvarez, September 30th. Showtime pay-per-view, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Jermell Charlo ready to go. Booker T, are you ready?
I almost just threw my shoulder down. But yeah, I'm ready, man.
All right, we'll talk to you. Good. We'll talk to you later this week. We got Canelo Alvarez's workout. We'll see you. Jermell Charlo's workout in the books here from Houston. So long from H-Town.
It's about pride. It's about legacy.
I want to make history in boxing. That's why I'm here.
When you want to win something this big, you got to risk it all.
All right. Looks like that was
But
it.
I'm ready, and I prepare myself for a different kind of fight.
Like that was it,
My
chat.
whole career has been about chasing Canelo.
Pretty much what I expected.
We from Texas.
Hold on. Yeah, pretty much what I expected. But so we went over a couple of notes before the workout, and I wanted to see how his balance looked in all aspects. Compactness in his punches when he throws combinations, his jab in concert with his feet, giving him angles to work off of with the jab. Does he look heavy on his feet? Do his punches look as snappy and as quick as they did at 54? Or is he having to push some of that extra weight and they're not as much speed and snap on the shots? And do we see more Derek James or Joan Guzman? Well, we saw more Joan Guzman. The punch. So for the most part, it was pretty positive on most of the things I was looking for. His punches looked sharp and had good snap, just like they did at 54. They were compact. Even when he threw combinations on the heavy bag, he had the best balance with his combinations that I've seen him have. They came out fast, crisp, sharp. Every punch in the book, the 1-2, left hook, sweeping right hand, some uppercuts in both hands. So a lot of good stuff I saw from Charlo, but didn't see the long-range offense, and that's what he needs to actually win this fight. No matter how sharp and how well thrown, and even with some improved balance, he's throwing his uppercuts and his hooks and his sweeping right hands. That punch selection favors Canelo. If you exchange with him with those shots and fire off those combinations, even if they're fast and you're throwing them good, styles make fights. Canelo can get underneath you. He's a shorter man. And when Charlo bends his knees down, because he doesn't keep them as narrow to fight tall, which you could get hit more in certain ways standing straight up, but you could fight taller. When you bend your knees, you're more flexible, but you're never going to be as flexible at 6 feet as the 5'8", 5'9" Canelo, whose abdomen is more slender and more compact with its movements. So even when Charlo keeps his hands up and does this and fires his combinations, he does that mano a mano with Canelo. That's Canelo's game. Canelo's a more compact puncher. He has better head movement. His waist can move around quicker, more shorter, condensed abdomen than Charlo. And he'll get underneath Charlo defensively and offensively. So Charlo's gotta make the best use of his jab. And he said he was going to keep some secrets under wraps. He wasn't showing us everything. One thing he needs to win this fight that he wasn't showing is an angle off his jab. What Charlo didn't punch off a lot of angles in this workout. He would move, and then plant and throw. 1-2, 1-2, whatever he would do. But he didn't do a lot of punching off of angles and doing that off the jab with the angle. So his feet look good, but it's a lot of move around, stop, and then punch. Move around, stop, and then punch. It isn't punching and moving at the same time, especially with that jab to dictate where you're going to move in the center of the ring. So you're not just moving back in straight lines, getting forced to the ropes. And another thing Charlo will do when he really starts using lateral movement, he'll square up the feet a little bit to get the bicycle motion going. The best guys can step around and still give half of their body. He'll square up a little bit to get on his bike and get out of there, and that could be a problem. But he said he's keeping some things under wraps. For the most part, there was more positives than negatives about his workout. He carried the weight very well. He looked sharp, snappy, fast. He could throw more punches per round than Canelo. But I didn't see a lot of long-range offense. And then defensively, a lot of his stuff, he's fundamentally sound. He fights with a high guard a lot, a Derek James staple. But when he moves his head, it's keeping his feet planted in range or even coming forward. Off the back foot is where his defense has to be good, like Bivol. His feet don't move with his jab like Dimitri Bivol. Watch Dimitri Bivol on the mitts. Constant bouncing his feet with his jab, ready to take a half step out of range, half step back into range, step to the right or step to the left. Feet are working and giving an angle off the jab. Charlo moves, he moves, and then he sets and throws. He doesn't give the feet constantly off the jab. So yeah, he got to see more of that long range offense to dictate in the center of the ring. Because if he lets Canelo walk him straight back, he can't just explode with those combinations he was throwing on the heavy bag and in the ring with the guy holding the other bag, hitting him pinpoint in different spots. That's not going to get it done. He needs to dictate range, be a master of distance. And the guys that know how to have longer arms, like Shakur Stevenson can do this, even though he doesn't have long arms, but masters of distance know how to make you fall short by just an inch. And they don't have to get underneath the shots all the time and move. They know the exact range to hit you and you'll fall a little bit short. Charlo isn't a master of distance like that. You get into range and he explodes with combinations. And he always has the advantage in doing that against 154 pounders. Against Canelo, he needs to box more, and he's a boxer puncher, but he's not a great pure boxer. Defensively, he doesn't drop the lead hand on the back foot and do a shoulder roll or a whole lot of. He did it sometimes against Castaño, but for the most part off the ropes. And if he doesn't want to be on the ropes that much in the first place against Canelo, so we'll see. There was a lot of positives to take from Charlo's workout. Look, he carried the weight very well, looks fast and sharp and fresh. But the long-range offense is going to have to be better, and the jab is going to have to be a little bit more nuanced and have some better angles and footwork off the jab. If he, as sharp as his combinations were, if he thinks he could just go combinations with Canelo in exchange, that's not going to get it done, I think. The shorter man with the better defense and the more compact punches and the heavier hands, because Charlo, that's another thing I noticed. Charlo, a very good puncher, a knockout artist at 154, will carry pop. If he hits Canelo with his best shots, Canelo will feel it from the smaller man moving up. But He doesn't have concussive heavy hands at 68 like Canelo, I know, has. So in those exchanges that both guys land, and that's how Charlo fights tend to go, even the two Harrison and Castano fights, they landed on him just as much as he landed on them. But the difference was he was the bigger puncher, the stronger man. It's not the case here. So he can't go blow for Canelo. If they land the same amount of shots on him, he's going to be the one taking more damage than Canelo. He's got to limit Canelo's offense, frustrate him, use his attributes, which are his length and his legs, and do it like that. If he doesn't really believe in his jab and doesn't work angles off of it and control the center of the ring, and he lets Canelo into the range where Canelo wants and invites him for exchanges, which I know that's not exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to invite him into the exchanges, but if he doesn't impose his jab in the center of the ring with good footwork, that is what he's doing. He's inviting exchanges, and Canelo will get the better of those exchanges. Charlo has to limit them and pick his spots for when he wants to open up combinations, not when Canelo's on his ass and he's throwing almost get-off-me punches. That's really what he did to Castano. It's not that he held the center of the ring and dictated off the jab against the smaller man. Smaller man got in on him all night long. He just exploded and was the better man in the exchanges. I don't think that's the case with Canelo. He's going to have to show more long-range offense than he showed, the 1 and the 2. And the footwork has to be giving him angles. It has to be busy with the jab, and he has to pick his spots. He lets him in, doesn't hold the center of the ring behind the jab, does what he does against Castano, and expects his explosive combinations to get the shorter man off of him. This is a different shorter man than Canelo Alvarez. He's going to be thumping harder than him and moving his head all over the place, at least in the first half of that fight, until he starts to slow down. So overall, a good workout from Charlo. Of course, he said he's not showing us everything. So maybe some of those tricks I want to see, they're there. He's keeping them under wraps because he knows there's some of the keys to winning this fight, and you don't show that. So fair play to him if it is. But based on what he did show us, even though it was very, very good stuff, styles make fights. And I didn't see all the tools he needed to pull off this upset. So that's what I got so far, chat. That's what I got so far, chat. What are we thinking? I'm going to get out of here soon in a minute.
Being able to buy products like
hold
this.
Hold on, chat. Making sure I'm still even in here. Charlo looked focused. Said still he did look focused. He looks locked in, but not as fully confident as the same Jermell Charlo we're used to. Not the guy, Mr. Keep running your mouth, knock your block off. I'm gonna knock your ass out. I'm gonna knock your bitch ass out. Like that's really the Jermell Charlo that has been made his run through 154. And I heard a little bit of like that give it a good go, mate, that we hear from Britain and him at even a little bit at the end. You know, I'm trying my best, a little bit of I'm trying my best and I'm ready to go and I'm excited and all that kind of stuff. Not I'm gonna win. You put your money, you guys better bet your bottom dollar I'm winning this fight. Fuck what you heard. Fuck what they're talking about. Fuck a 3-fight deal with PBC and Canelo. This is happening. I'm beating him. I'm knocking him off. I'm hungrier. I want, and it's going down. It's happening. Lions only. You know, and that's not quite what we got. We got more of the very respectful, very focused and honed in Jermell Charlo. And ultimately, maybe that's the guy that gets it done. But we'll see. We'll see, chat. M. Grandy said Charlo too respectful. I don't like it. Part of me doesn't either at times because dance with the girl that got you there, you know, be the Charlo that made you undisputed at 54. But then part of me acknowledges that I've talked to Hall of Famers and asked them, do you think Charlo's a little out of character with how respectful he's being to Canelo? And they told me they like it. They like what they're seeing. And these are men who've done it before, not just guys like me who cover boxing, but are Hall of Famers. So I take what they say into consideration. But at the same time, yeah, part of me does wonder if it's a little too respectful. So we'll see. Jesus said Zattel looking like a young Eddie Hearn. It's okay. I'll take that, I guess. Eddie Hearn, you know, people that don't like him don't say, you know, he's an ugly guy. So I'll take it. Wilson said you don't just implement new tools like that without throwing off what you're good at, meaning all the stuff I'm mentioning Charlo will have to do. Transition, he's a boxer puncher, put more emphasis on the boxer this fight. I know you're not Floyd. I know you're not going to just box a perfect fight for 12 rounds and make a miss and be Pernell Whitaker, but a little bit more emphasis on the boxer part than the puncher part for this assignment. You know, and Wilson in the chat is saying if he tries to do some of those things I'm talking about, dominate with behind the jab, be better with the superior ring generals, it'll take away from the offensive outbursts that he normally does as that boxer puncher. The best boxer puncher of them all, you know, Sugar Ray Robinson. The reason why he was the best boxer puncher, in part, there were many reasons, but watch, he was dominant, more moving to his left. He could move both sides, but Sugar Ray really settling into his rhythm, loved to move to his step to his left and jab while stepping over to his left. You know, he would do it while stepping over to his left. He gave an angle off the jab, and he would circle his opponent with his left jab, usually moving to his left, and then pick the moment to explode like that's Charlo's mold. He's a boxer puncher. He touches with his jab, he moves around the ring, and then he explodes. But the problem with his jab, it's not as an educated, dominant jab and as busy a jab as a Sugar Ray Robinson, as a Oscar De La Hoya, as a Muhammad Ali, other boxer punchers. Those guys, they give the movement, especially Ali and Sugar Ray, they gave movement off the jab. They're pivoting off to the left, giving an angle as they're shooting it. They're not moving to the right, moving to the left, and then throwing shots. They're punching off the movement at the same time. And I don't see that from Jermell's jab. And in my opinion, it's almost a necessary tool to beat Canelo in this fight for him. It was a necessary tool for Floyd and Bivol, even Golovkin, and then Lara, who a lot of people thought Golovkin beat Canelo the first time and Lara beat him. It was off their jabs, a lot of it. Well, Lara moved with his jab more, and it set up the 1-2, southpaw 1-2 down the middle. But he punched off the jab and gave an angle. He moved to the outside of the lead foot of Canelo to set up the 1-2. He punched off the angle. And Charlo does more moving around, and then he just punches straight up the gut. He doesn't punch off the angle as much. The only time he did was in this Castano rematch off the ropes. But you don't want to start punching with angles off the ropes. You want to punch with angles in the center of the ring. That's what he's got to do. He has to hold the center of the ring better. Can't do that. He didn't do that against Castano, even though he knocked him out. So we'll see. So we'll see. This is me getting real scientific with it, folks. That's why there's only 150 people left, because this is like hardcore boxing X's and O's stuff now at this point. So, but I'm just about Charlo drops his left hand after a combination. Canelo, I mean, no one's perfect. No one always brings. These guys have a great sense of timing and distance. They know the time. They don't need the hand right here to catch back. That's what the best fighters are good at. Otherwise, they would all be, basic, like Anthony Joshua, and every time they punch, the hand comes back to the chin. These guys are a little more sophisticated with that, making you miss. But Canelo does that sometimes too. Zattel, based on the match against Bivol, there was very less head movement. There was Rock Schiff. There was less head movement against Ryder, less head movement against Golovkin the third time, and Bivol. That's part of what makes it look like Canelo's slowing down. And part of that, I think, is related to his energy, his endurance, his conditioning. Canelo has an exhausting style, if you think about it. He throws nothing soft. He throws everything hard like a bomb, and he's constantly moving his upper body. So every punch, when it misses, when he's hitting nothing but air, it's, he's throwing everything on. And that was I could throw it a lot better, but he's throwing it with every shot. He's not like Lomachenko, touch, bang, bang. He's throwing everything hard. And he's constantly doing this, constantly doing that, constantly doing this. So he's loading up on every shot and constantly moving his upper body movement. He's not this tall guy with good legs that can, relax on the outside at times, not always have to be doing a defensive move. He has to. He's always in range. He's the smaller guy, shorter guy. So I think part of why you've been seeing less head movement, his energy hasn't been as good. He's been getting tired quicker in fights. He says it's partly injuries. He hasn't been able to go crazy in training on the mitts and the road work to give himself the proper conditioning he needs to go 12 hard rounds at a solid pace. So that's why I keep saying, you know, if Charlo pulls this off, it's with some help from Canelo. It's Canelo gassing early in the fight. It's Canelo gassing midway through the fight. 6, 7, 5, 8, around between 5 and 8. Canelo really starts to gas already. That's how Charlo, who definitely has the better conditioning, comes on strong down the stretch. But if Canelo's conditioning is better, I expect his punch out, his punch selection to be better and his head movement to be better because he'll be less tired. And when he's tired, he relies on less head movement, catches shots on the high guard, loads up on the hook, loads up on one big shot. But when he's got his energy, he uses his jab more, and then the jab sets up the lead hook. He has the best lead hook in boxing. And you don't, and you know, that famous clip of him hitting Golovkin in the rematch with that lead hook, he did it because he was out jabbing Golovkin in round 1, or at least matching Golovkin's jab. When Canelo has energy, he uses all his tools. When he doesn't, he gets hit a little bit more. He doesn't move the body as much because he's tired, and he loads up and his offense becomes more predictable. When he has his energy, he uses the jab, it sets up the lead hook, and then he's moving his body more and countering off of more head movement, as opposed to coming in the high guard and loading up on a hook. So this fight, to me, really depends on Canelo, man. If he gasses midway through the fight, Charlo can win this thing. But if Canelo's at the gas tank he had in 2021 and 2020, and he'll be all right. He'll be all right against Charlo. I think he'll win a decision in a fun fight where Charlo has some moments, but Canelo wins convincingly. So, but we'll see, man. I think I'm just about wrapping up. No Boxing, No Life says, always talking shit about Canelo. No Boxing, No Life says this, even though I'm picking Canelo to win the fight, and just said so many wonderful things about him. But he's a dick rider. He's a dick rider. No Boxing, No Life's a dick rider. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's not a lifelong sentence. You know, when I was a boy, I used to dick ride some of my favorite athletes too. So it's okay. You'll mature from it one day and understand that Canelo, the great fighter he is human like everybody else. So, but that's about it for all I got. For all I got, chat. Hope you guys enjoyed everything, and God bless everyone. And I believe we'll be even you know Boxing No Life. No, don't get me wrong, but God bless everyone. I'll be back Wednesday. We'll do the same for Canelo's workout. Everybody, keep it cool. Have a good one. Take care.